What up, Mr. Hip Hop Vegan, coming with another video. And today what I want to talk about is MK Ultra and the government controlling our brain and how easy it is to do it. Now, me and the conspiracy theory stuff, I'm past that. I really don't care. But when it comes to stuff that you can read and there's proof of it, then I get excited about it. Like the whole Chales Manson, MK Ultra. There's this book right here called Chaos, Chales Manson, the CIA and the Secret History of the 60s, which I think if you like murder books and stuff like that, you should pick it up. However, in this book, he talks about Tom O'Neill. Tom O'Neill was on the Joe Rogan show. If you want to go look at that interview, which is pretty dope. I think it was like a 3-hour interview, so it's only so much you can do in the interview. I got his book like 2 weeks before he was even on Joe Rogan. I didn't know he was gonna be on Joe Rogan, but Brendan Schaub, there you go, was talking about it. The hell, I come with Andrew. And maybe I was thinking about Andrew Schultz. But anyways, let's talk about MK Ultra and the government controlling your brain. For Chales Manson, before he got locked up for that big all them killings and stuff like that he got his camp to do, Chales Manson was locked up a couple of times before. Now, what they were saying about Chales Manson is that he would get in trouble after he came out, like the first or second time after he came out, he would be getting in trouble, and the government or the CIA would just let him go ahead and do what he wanted to do. He wouldn't get in trouble. And there was something strange about that. And then in this book, if you go read through it, they talk about doctors seeing him in prison and how they were controlling him. And I don't want to go through the whole book, and so you can read it for yourself. I mean, it's a pretty big book, and he breaks down what went on with Chales Manson. Crazy story. I mean, this guy spent all his life researching and finding out different things about Chales Manson. The weird part is, one of the clinics that I believe Chales Manson was going to was just shut down not too long ago. I think after the release of this book, that clinic shut down, and that was strange. That was the CIA was I believe had control of that clinic. I mean, like I said, read the book, but it's a scary thought when you can be controlled by the government like that. And it goes through his stories about what they were doing to him, what he felt like, and maybe the reason why he did what he did was because he was being controlled. Now, you know, the killing of Sharon Tate, that whole thing, and what you don't know, if you don't know, Sharon Tate was married to I believe Polanski, the movie maker, who was kicked out the U.S. and can never come back for, I believe, child pornography and stuff like that. Which he will also make men. What I was hearing, he also made Sharon Tate sleep with different men, so he was a cuck. And I guess he would just sit there and watch other men have sex with her, which I believe that he really just messed up her life and messed up everything that she was going through. And that's Roman Polanski, right? That's his name. He had a big deal to do with that whole situation. And I believe Chales Manson was supposed to speak with Polanski and be in the movie or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. Just read through the book, and then you will get to the point where you will actually start believing that this government is actually mind controlling people. Another fact was the Unabomber. The Unabomber was controlled, and MK Ultra, when he was going to college, he would go into a different room on campus, and they would show him being having the thing put on his head and being manipulated and being studied on and being used as a guinea pig. And Unabomber, the dude was He was smart. His IQ was very high, if I'm not mistaken. He was a very smart dude. Imagine they took a while to catch him, and he left to the boonies and was in a little shack, and you know, all these things. It's very superficial of what we know about it, but if you watch the movie on Netflix on the Unabomber, you will see that he was being mind controlled, MK Ultra, and now you sit back and think about how many other people were being controlled that committed all these crimes. Like you have Ted Bundy, was he being MK Ultra? And why would they use MK Ultra? What's the purpose of? Is it like a training, some type of training to see what can happen and how they can control people? Are all these murderers being controlled? MK Ultra is it's just so much things that you think about and sit back like, who else is being controlled? Just the same thing with the media, with TV, and all the information that we get. You got Trump, and you got this, as you can know, the granola. I don't want to say the pandemic that's happening because YouTube been flagging and all that crazy stuff, but you don't know what they're controlling and what they're doing, and it sucks because you're like, damn. You want to believe everybody else that, nah, this can't happen, but then you have proof. You read a book like the Chales Manson book, Chaos, and then you're like, damn, they did that. And what they did to the Unabomber. He went, started making pipe bombs and started sending to people who was trying to change the tech industry, I believe. If you haven't watched his movie on Netflix, it's a great movie to watch. It's scary what they did to him. I mean, the choices, he didn't have a choice, I guess, because he probably did have choices, but imagine being somewhere and being mind controlled and having that type of specific scientific experiment done to you. Imagine you're a young kid going to college and they ask you to be in this certain program. You go and they're just messing with your brain and doing this and tweaking that and tweaking this, and it's scary. It's very, 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 very scary. There was another aspect where the CIA had a secret. I forgot the name of the experiment that we're doing, but they would take you to a brothel. It had something to do with a brothel. A woman would take a man in there. They would poison the dude. I think was it LSD. They would give them something, and then the girl would move away, would leave the room, and they would play with them too. They're like mind control with these people. I think it's like Operation Brothel or something like that back in the days where they would go into these brothels and they were getting mind control too, and it was just crazy. The CIA, the government, they do crazy shit. And sometimes you want to believe it or not believe it, because you get tired of it. And what makes it worse is you go online and they make everything a conspiracy theory, which I think a lot of things are not. And then what happens is the truth gets buried behind all the bullshit and stuff like that, or the fake conspiracy theories, and everything that's fake, they just try to put it underneath there so people won't go and do their research. Just learning about Chales Manson, just learning about the Unabomber, Ted Kaczynski is his name, and just learning what he'd been through. Now, you would think that, damn, maybe they turned him crazy, and I believe, I don't know if he's dead yet. I believe he's dead, right? I believe they killed the Unabomber, if I'm not mistaken. But then you would think about it and be like, was it really his fault? Or was it the fault of the government for messing with his brain and turn him crazy or whatever like that? So, I mean, so many aspects of the MK Ultra. You just have to do your research and be like, who else they did it to? Maybe the DC sniper, where he's being MK Ultra. I mean, were they using him and the young boy to controlling them to do it? That we would never know. Maybe if they go deep into it and see what's happening, it might have went through or something like that. And he did go to prison, or he was in the military, if I'm not mistaken. I believe he was in the military. So you don't know what was going on with him in the military and the things that he was going through in the military. So they could have been using MK Ultra on him. Just do your research, and if you have any other stories and stuff like that of MK Ultra, put it in the comments. I like to read it and do my own research on it. But if I was you guys, pick up this book, Chaos. I went through a couple of pages. I haven't went through it yet because I just got so much stuff going on. But this breaks down everything. And the guy who wrote the book, the first book about, I think it was the police guy who wrote the book about Chales Manson. I believe that when he died, he wanted to sue this dude because a lot of the information in the first book was just false information, lies that they came up with, and he was and this guy Tom O'Neill was coming out with his information, and it wasn't the same thing that the police guy was saying. So the police guy was lying, making up his own stories and stuff like that, when this guy was doing his research and was like, hold up, you're not telling the truth and you're lying and stuff like that. And he made millions and millions of dollars off that Chales Manson book. And it's just amazing that it's out there in the open, but it's really not, because they'll, like I said, they'll just choose something else. You will hide it underneath the truth, or hide it underneath the bullshit, and then you have to just search and search and search and search, and then you find the truth. You're not gonna win against the government. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way, no how. If they got these people controlling, these scientists controlling the industry, these scientists controlling government also, you're not gonna tell me somebody like the president has the power, because presidents leave every 4 years, or if they get a second term, 8 years. So they're not gonna give the full power to the president, who only has a certain amount of time. It's somebody else behind the scene who has the power, who controls it, and be like, you can be there, you can be there. You might be 4, you might be 8. Let's see what happens to you, but we're not gonna tell you everything. You're not gonna know everything. We can do whatever we want. We pick and choose. So it's a damn if you do, a damn if you don't type stuff. So I don't get into politics. It's crazy where I just don't get into politics. MK Ultra, do your research, see what's happening, see who's controlling it, and just don't read the bullshit. Just find the truth, the stuff that's really happening, the things that are documented. Read that and be like, okay, boom. The same way they were talking about the O.J. Simpson trial was a whole bunch of crazy government stuff going on. So I really didn't do my research on that, so I don't really want to talk about it. But there's a whole bunch of information about the whole O.J. Simpson information. And the thing is, I really don't care about O.J. Simpson or anything like that. I feel sorry for the families of the people who did die, but you never know what happened, why, who. It's a crazy world that we live in. But I know one thing: I'd rather live here in the U.S. than anywhere else. Imagine living in Cuba. You go to Cuba, they see you kill a cow, you get prison time for killing a cow. So they say you might get more time killing a cow than killing a human being. You can be born in North Korea. You can be born in all these crazy places from back in the days. You know, you can. You have to love where you live in America. We have more freedom than most people, but it's still a lot of negative and a lot of bullshit going on in this world, or in the United States itself. So study your MK Ultra, controlling your brains, TVs. I don't got no TV. Everything I do watch is either YouTube or YouTube. I don't watch TV unless it's sports. YouTube and Netflix and Hulu, if they have any good documentaries. But it's sad, because the other day I was doing research, not even doing research, just looking, because I don't watch the news for anything. So I went into my local news website, and you see murders and this person found dead, and I'm like, yo, I didn't hear about none of this stuff right in my backyard over here. This person found in the trash can. This person got shot. And I don't hear none of that because I don't want to watch the news. The news is so negative about this person, these people stealing, this girl got raped. This is just crazy. And it's right, and I don't hear nothing about it because I'm not watching the news, and I'm not putting my brain to have that type of news control me. Try to do the most positive, read the most positive things, watch the most positive things, and just go ahead and live my life like that. So thank you for watching my videos. I'm just gonna be putting videos out, whatever I want to talk about, that's what I'm gonna do. So thank you for watching my videos. Peace.